Tim McIndoe.
Mr. Speaker, along with many members of this House, I had the privilege of joining tens of thousands of New Zealanders, mostly Cantabrians, one would assume, in Hagley Park last Friday for the memorial service to honour those who died in the tragedy that struck Christchurch, Lyttelton and surrounding areas on the 22nd of February. In every respect, it was a deeply moving and memorable experience. As others have done in earlier debates, I place on record my personal condolences and aroha to the relatives and friends of the deceased, and my sympathy and best wishes to all who are recovering, in some cases from horrific injuries, from the terror and pain inflicted by the earthquake. I also acknowledge and thank the hundreds of wonderful people, many of them volunteers, who have worked tirelessly over the past month, often ignoring their own personal losses and setbacks, to support the recovery effort and to comfort, heal and assist those who have suffered bereavement, injury and loss. While we all wish that their work had not been necessary and pray that the aftershocks will soon come to an end, the selflessness, stoicism, courage and commitment of all who have played a part in the rescue and recovery efforts to date have been outstanding. I too have been very proud to be a New Zealander over the past month. I also thank those who so generously have supported the thousands of earthquake appeal fundraising activities that have already been held and which will continue to be held throughout the country for some time to come. The Lord loves a cheerful giver, and New Zealanders have once again shown themselves to be very generous. In light of the incomprehensible devastation and misery that has subsequently been inflicted upon so many in Japan as a consequence of the horrific earthquake and tsunami that struck that country earlier this month, it is also appropriate to acknowledge our friends from many other countries who assisted our work in Christchurch and then went to the aid of the Japanese. We have seen many humbling demonstrations of heroism in recent weeks. I offer my sympathy and best wishes to the government and people of Japan at this very sad and challenging time for that country. The service that was held in Hagley Park on Friday was an important opportunity for the families of victims to grieve and for the rest of the country to offer them our comfort and support. It was an honour to have Prince William with us representing the Queen, and I also want to acknowledge the great compliment that the Governor-General of Australia, Prime Minister Julia Gillard and Opposition Leader Tony Abbott paid to New Zealand in attending the service. Responses to a staggering series of disasters in both countries in recent times have revealed that the trans-Tasman relationship is as solid as it has ever been.
That's right.
For me, the highlight of the service last Friday was Hayley Westenra's unaccompanied rendition of Amazing Grace. Mr. Speaker, it was hauntingly beautiful, and seldom can those lyrics have struck a more poignant chord. Dave Dobbin, Dame Malvina Major, Patrick Manning, the young chorister with whom Dame Malvina sang Pie Jesu so well, and several other artists, speakers and representatives of many faith communities all contributed to an unforgettable service that was a dignified and fitting tribute with a distinctively Kiwi flavour. I lived in Christchurch for 3 years in the mid-1980s, and I have fond memories of the beauty of that city's natural environment and distinctive architecture. I worshipped in the Anglican Cathedral on several occasions and attended a friend's wedding in the Catholic Cathedral. To see those historic and beautiful icons of that city so badly damaged is heartbreaking, and those of us who no longer live in Christchurch can only try to imagine the distress of those whose homes, communities and workplaces have been destroyed or badly damaged. What we can do and must do, however, is support them in every way that we can to rebuild their city and livelihoods. Not, as some have suggested, by way of a burdensome levy, but by a combination of responsible borrowing and reallocated capital spending, as was signalled earlier this week by the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. As earlier government speakers have already noted, helping support and rebuild Christchurch is among the most important tasks the government will undertake this year and for the foreseeable future. We will all share in that burden, and I believe all New Zealanders understand and support that commitment. My constituents in Hamilton certainly do. Cantabrians deserve that undertaking, and we won't let them down.
Louise Upston.